Okay, hold on, I'm gonna try something here. That was significantly less cool than I thought it was gonna be. Hello everyone. Notice anything different about me? That's right, I moved my camera. Also this! Yes, true to my promise that when I reached 100 subscribers I would be revealing my name and doing so in my channel name, I decided, you know what? I guess it's about time I did that. And at first I was like, I don't want to reveal my name on the internet, and then I was like, I don't really care, honestly. This was actually gonna be my channel name originally because I thought it was a cool pun. So, yeah, anyway. Hi everyone, and welcome to Pulse of the Maggie. My name is Maggie. Something to that effect will probably become my video intro, only hopefully less cringy. Also, this angle is awful. Give me a second. Okay, that's not very... We're just gonna go with that. So, my university classes have been cancelled. And I thought that, you know, now that I'm spending time at home, why don't I actually fucking do this YouTube thing that I said I would be coming back to? And we are returning with something that I have been planning for a while, one of my many 50,000 time mentioned planned videos. I'm going to be doing a sort of review, talking about type video of this book. You can't read it. It says Birth School Metallica Death. It is a Metallica biography, obviously, written by Paul Brannigan and Ian Winwood, and this is part 1 of a series. So this is going to be part 1 of the video series as well, and part 2 I will be talking about the other book. So there's 2 books to the series. So I first picked this book up probably like a year or so ago, maybe a little bit more, when I was just starting to get into Metallica, and I decided that I would buy a biography to help me learn about them. So this book basically starts literally from the birth of all the members. We get a story of what it was like when they were born in terms of like the date and location and also time for one of them, and I'm an astrology nerd, so that was fun. But then we also obviously look at how the band actually formed and started, and it goes right up until just when the Black Album has been released. So we basically span across 10 years of the band's history. And it's really interesting because it goes quite into depth about a lot of people's musical influences, like Black Sabbath and a lot of classical music as well, particularly in the case of Mr. Cliff Burton. He was very much inspired by a lot of classical music. For those of you who don't know, the intro of the song Damage Inc. was actually inspired by the song Come Sweet Death. That's the English translation, not going to butcher the German, by Bach. So, fun fact. But another thing that I really liked about this is that there's just some really, like, I would say funny things that happen in terms of like situations or anecdotes that are described, and I've bookmarked some of them, so I'll do a dramatic reading with some really shit editing over the top. Okay, I don't know how many of these I read in my Metal Books recommendations video, but you're gonna hear some of them twice if I did. This is a conversation between Brian Slagle, who works for Metal Blade Records, and Lars Ulrich. So hey, can my band be on the record? Ulrich asked. Slagle gently reminded his friend that he didn't have a band. I'm putting one together, the drummer insisted. Save a space for me. Slagle laughed and agreed that he'd reserve a place for Lars's imaginary band, not believing for a moment that his friend was serious. That same evening, though, Ulrich placed a phone call to 13,004 Curtis and King Road in Norwalk. When James Hetfield answered, the accented voice on the other end of the line asked if he wanted to be on a record. Sure, said Hetfield. Sure. When the singer replaced the receiver, Ulrich immediately dialed another number. His second conversation of the day with Slagle was much shorter than the first. I have a band, he said simply. And the rest is history, except we're going to read about it anyway, so. Another scene we have here, which is from chapter 2, and this is one of the most iconic moments in Metallica's history, so many of you will already know about this, but for those of you who don't, you're about to learn where a pretty ubiquitous phrase comes from. But as the seasons in New York City were soon to change, so too were Metallica. On the morning of April 11, Mustaine was roused from his sleep by Hetfield, Ulrich, Burton and Whitaker. The lead guitarist inquired as to the reason for his interrupted slumber and was told that he was no longer a member of Metallica. I said, what? No warning? No second chance? Mustaine recalled. They just shrugged and said, no. So I'm not literally just going to sit here and read out my favourite parts. I will also actually show you this cool insert in the middle, which I think I briefly showed in my Metal Books recommendations video. So there's an insert in the middle that has some photos. We have the original lineup. I think I mentioned that in the last one. I was like, if you include Ron McGovney, technically it's not the original. Or if you include Dave Mustaine, the guy I literally just did a damn skit about and then apparently forgot the existence of. Sorry about that. back to regular programming. But like the first one to release albums, it's James, Lars, Kirk and Cliff. Right here. So that's sort of what they looked like when they were younger. But then also they do kind of go in chronological order, and then when you read the book you can kind of have the photos to go along with it. Like when they were talking about a particular show that they played in Paris, they have a photo from that show in Paris. And it also talks, you probably can't read that, but it says Alcoholica there because that was like their nickname because they like to drink. One thing that I will say though is this book goes into quite a bit of detail as far as the events of September 27th, 1986 go. So I just want to say that if you're sensitive to things like that, be aware. This is not like necessarily a trigger warning or anything. I mean, maybe that's something that's going to be upsetting, but just so you are aware, I'm sure, you know, if you're familiar with the history of Metallica, you will know about what happened to Cliff, but I found out quite a lot about what happened to Cliff via this book. It's kind of what prompted me to write my poem Orion, which is also a video on my channel if you're interested in spoken word poetry and Metallica and you want to check that out. And like me, you constantly have questions about the universe. Yeah, check that out if you're interested. I will say, as far as the writing style of these two authors go, their sentences do tend to be quite wordy. Like sometimes there'll be a sentence that has like several semicolons and hyphens and I'm like, okay, that could have been 3 different sentences, but alrighty then. Ooh, there is another kind of interesting part that I'm going to take about 7 years to try and find, but it does reference another band that is now quite big, but it talks about something that they did when they were not as big. I don't know where this sentence is going. I'm just going to find the bit and read it. Okay, so this is describing the Kill 'Em All for One tour of 1983, which they did with the band Raven, who had released their album All for One when Metallica had released Kill 'Em All. In Texas, the package was seen by members of a then unheralded and awful glam rock band by the name of Pantera, who, witnessing the energy and ferocity emanating from the stage, took stock of their own music and decided to change direction. In time, this group would become one of the most popular and uncompromising names in American metal. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of quite a large number of metalheads when I say thank God they decided to do that. Okay, in all honesty, I don't hate Pantera's early stuff, but like, it was questionable. So yes, that is pretty much going to do it for part 1 of this book review. I will come out with part 2 soon, hopefully sometime within the next 7 days. I'm going to give myself a time limit. 7 days. I will make a solid effort to get it out in that time. I am still doing online classes at uni, so I'm still going to have work and shit to do, but I will be at home a lot more because I don't have a fucking choice. But anyway, thank you so much for still being here. Those of you who are still here, because I got to 100 subscribers and I was like, cool, channel name change time, and then I lost them. But I'm back now, so it's fine. Anyway, stay safe, stay home, look after yourself, wash your fucking hands, and I will see you in the next video, which I promise will come out sooner than the space between most of my recent videos. Alright, see ya.